how to counter zombies with flamethrowers and axes and numerous weapons. Have common sense, right? Whether reason there, whether proper from whether get common sense, whether reason there, whether proper, whether reason whether proper, whether reason whether also whether proper get common sense, dude. Whether reason whether proper, whether reason whether also probable get common sense of dude. They have our guys on so much of sleeping pills. It's an amount of anesthetic sprays. Our guys are denying of real life engagement while are treated with tonnage of these sprays on the value successful your grade, while the whole stuff is much zombified. They're zombies. While the master enjoys the meals and they also enjoy the meal, but they don't have a clue that there's just complexity involved, or whether a bit of a hideousness, or probably utter hideousness. That's the occasion to use, and overall, our mention have to be sort of much more than sort of 19th century flattened, because the amount of emergency signals has been overused from mass amount of these zombies. Suppose our guys had more life engagements, they would have noticed which ones are ingenuine. They would have naturally defaultly noticed it, and to such a confirmation. The reason they happen probably because they were raised up by the zombies, at least indirectly to a quite of a substantial level. It gets to be a bit of a problem when the zombies resemble humans, so then it's much more easy to calculate and they're similar. Noticing the discussion of certain issues from a lot of filth. Whether reason whether proper for whether minor radical for whether reason whether proper for whether instead of whether reason whether first of whether reason whether proper for whether first of by the fugitives, whether reason whether proper for whether from the whether reason whether by the fugitives aren't to solve the issues, but sort of to prolong it, to infiltrate probably in a while to gain some more noticing of the conditions and whether the reason or whether proper for whether minor, whether the condition, the mindset of its targets, so to kill its targets even faster and with more effective methods, and wider selection of the methods and more effectiveness in the selection of more effective methods. Whether reason whether it's to kill its targets more dynamically. Whether reason whether not proper for another, whether reason whether proper, whether reason whether another, whether reason whether to enhance the, whether reason whether to increase the, whether reason whether to enhance the effectiveness of selection of the methods, whether reason whether proper for, whether reason whether proper for also, for whether reason whether proper for whether minor rather of, whether reason whether proper for whether minor rather of selection of effective methods of reason whether proper and whether first of effective methods probable also to be from whether probable whether reason whether proper whether reason there what proper whether reason there whether another whether reason whether proper also to go be of and whether reason whether proper for minor rather of whether reason whether proper also could be of and whether reason there another whether reason there whether proper to go be of and whether reason there whether proper could be whether reason there and whether proper from whether proper for minor whether reason whether proper from whether proper for minor rather of and whether proper whether reason whether and whether proper from whether minor rather whether reason there whether proper from whether minor rather of whether reason there whether proper to go be of reason there whether proper and whether to go be whether reason whether proper from whether minor rather whether reason whether proper from whether minor rather from whether at first of and whether reason there whether another whether reason there whether proper of and whether minor rather of proper for comparative whether reason whether of comparative proper of the slightly whether reason whether proper for a bit better of each of these words are overusing extensively from a man of these opposites. We can be as successful as we wanted, wouldn't be out of the loop. Got a military engagement, guys. A lot of stuff are no's, and don't we already know? Sometimes mentions are, it's not really too public message, and let's a lot is demanded from us, from Zambasists. Check right here, it could be practiced. It doesn't try to think away on the neutral, while these are ever with us. Deprecate whether reason, whether probable form, whether also deprecate. The recent mentioned effect still ongoes. What if it doesn't get mentioned, and therefore it's definitely not there? It wouldn't go defensively, it's not there, although it probably would interact a bit to the recent statement thereof. But the absence of such, whether a major, whether a shortage of budget, whether reason, whether a major, whether reason, whether absence of budget doesn't, from that some entities, doesn't indicate therefore they are weak. They are sort of calorie defaultly properly distributed, whether reason they're properly not even properly distributed, whether reason whether properly not distributed, whether reason whether proper those are natism, whether reason whether those are calorie distributed to the sort of composition where whether reason whether calorie distributed to where this would yield major results, so it doesn't invest towards it. Reason thereof on whether reason there, whether reason thereof. Proper could be considered as a minor retardation. Phrase whether reason whether proper from whether mention, whether reason whether proper from whether just, whether reason there whether as minor retardation, whether reason there whether proper, whether reason there whether minor retardation of, whether reason there whether proper for another, whether reason there whether also, whether reason there whether reason there just, whether reason there and whether and whether reason there whether proper from whether minor ratio, for whether reason there whether as minor retardation of comparative whether reason and probable. It's more suitable from whether reason whether probable for whether minorly, more suitable for reason whether probable and whether minor ratio, a bit more suitable of reason there whether it's probable of comparative whether reason whether is slightly whether reason whether proper for whether minor ratio, whether reason whether minor ratio, whether reason whether and proper from whether minor ratio, whether reason there and whether ends and whether proper from whether minor ratio, whether reason there and whether proper from whether minor ratio of comparative whether reason there and whether proper from whether minor ratio, whether reason there whether a bit more better of whether reason there whether proper and whether minor ratio, whether reason there whether minor ratio, whether reason there whether probable from whether minor ratio, whether reason there whether reason adjacent there, whether reason there and whether proper from whether proper from whether reason there whether proper from whether minor instead of from whether reason whether proper from whether minor ratio, whether reason there and whether ends and whether proper from whether minor ratio of comparative whether reason and whether proper of and whether minor ratio of a bit better of reason there of which whether reason there whether proper feels recent of probable also to could be of whether probable is also suitable from whether reason there whether probable to could be of probable also to could be of whether reason there just whether reason thereafter whether reason there whether another just whether reason there another whether reason there just whether reason there just whether reason there and whether probable to also to suitable to probable to also to could be of and whether probable to could be of and whether it's probable could be of and whether reason there whether at whether reason there whether first of probable of also to could be of and whether reason there whether reason there whether it's probable to could be of reason there probable also to could be of and whether it's probable to also suitable and whether it's probable to could be of reason there of whether reason there whether of whether reason there whether probable also to could be of whether probable could be of. There's 100 issues out there. There's monogamy problems. I'm constantly quizzed again. These are beyond God. This is a brutal force. They lied about pretty much all of the stuff. Suppose it was had exchanging cold wars with other Nazism entities, they will be at least slightly logical and have some sense for, whether a bit senseful. Constant quizzes against us. Notice the complexity stacked since the deaths of the kings, especially is to combat against us. There's so much anesthetic break out there. I myself gone to university. Doubtfully others could escape much. It should be more responsibility, no more slimeriness. Let's slow down this. The death camps was motivated by a lot of feminazi. There's some oddness to it. There's certainly this beyond. It's even below and above uncomprehension. It's going to take a long time to solve, and perhaps it's my orchestration, and no one of our side is going to mention it. And in order for it to be mentioned, requires to be our members. Maybe that's a great way to overease on the whether to painting it to be better, a better interpretation. As much as stuff is about challenges, sometimes one have to, in solving problems, one have to sort of ignore problems, convert it into a nicer story. Reason whether proper form, whether minor rather of a more sustainable, whether reason whether proper for not with the sometimes sort of it might be not rather as much there, but a lot is we suggested to be there. So to solve the issues better. Once we enter the territory of posing with Nazism disagree, the argument isn't agree or disagree. The whole thing is from Nazism entities are swoon. They're to kill. They want to kill and harm. And they're fantastically different from a lot of others. It doesn't take too long to notice in Nazism these pseudoists are utterly vicious. Suppose someone did the asceticism, it has to be first be our guys, but our guys are quite few. It has gotten to a cultural level contamination, the utter irresponsibility of the non-Asians. Suppose someone goes to Africa, or whether a African continent, there's nothing to be afraid about these savages. They're not savages. The only savages are these ever innocent, ever sinner, ever legitimate freaks. The English word police is like a passive-aggressive infliction. Because regular folks use it, doesn't improve, and therefore it doesn't come from passive aggression. Or the passive-aggressivists could inflict the so much more conveniently. I'm having to skip this grammar. How about I just blah 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 and wolf and make a few sounds, and that will be considered as a why not? I have to re-explain the whole stuff. Nuke them. I at least throttled the exhaustible word which you usually offer to us. Persuade and write an essay. What a bunch of freaks. Someone should microwave a few. We really have to engage this with such an approach that's sort of not allowed by the mothers. I butcher them with some celebration there might be fireworks. At the same time, there possibly also be simultaneous whether reason whether also whether reason whether proper from whether and some 20 millimeters pointed directly towards them and pang 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 going through. Oh, I mentioned 20 millimeter, therefore I'm a killer. And when the Nazis will 20 millimeter, they're police officer, right? That's more of a Nazism territory to argue upon. And the reason there somebody phrase whether reason whether phrases of whether reason whether proper for phrase whether phrases of was mainly to convey whether reason there was included for whether reason whether there another whether reason there was mainly to mention towards whether reason whether proper for whether emphasize whether reason whether to proper for to believe whether reason when there whether proper for emphasize towards whether reason whether to whether reason whether towards to whether reason and whether proper for whether of there certainly is a large amount of hideous out there, and there's large distortion sets. All these newscasters, they refinely try to kill, they try to devote all this talent just to harm. Utterly amount of force used for such. We should point a gun and just shut them up. There's a whole lot of those. But those can be considered, those are Nazism entities. That's what Nazism entities are. These are gone. dysfunction. These are sort of never were there. Since the beginning was a yali me gang member and then treated like some royal emperors just because they don't perform at certain ranking. Do they have to be ranked in a certain way? The unreputable doesn't even interact socially with others. They are functional robots. We need to delete a lot of the functional entities too. There's simply too many, and these are deadly fiends. Consider the depiction of the numerous villains. The traits are highlighted there, and the single different formation is probably not based on that seed, whether position of whether reason whether proper form by the minor or rather, whether reason whether proper, whether reason whether proper form, whether reason whether proper another, for whether reason whether another, whether reason whether proper, whether reason whether proper form whether minor rather, for whether reason whether rather of this position of was probably presided whether preserved for me. Notice the English word first pronounced en, then en, say please. It's a fucking mental disease, man. How the fuck do you are non-Asians fucking instinct short? I'm gonna rape the entire California someday. This is just fucked up business. Like, who the fuck give a fuck cares about these politeness when your people are getting prosecuted, man? Fix this stuff. There's a whole lot of $1 trillion exchanged around, and there's no man around. Some technocrats, lots of secretaries. Secretary is not us. That's so siding with the accountant. It's the reason why the problem for accounting is. The agriculture spawns. Have we noticed sports persons are very, very polite. They are sort of unmanipulated as the zombicists, so therefore it doesn't come off as much. And wouldn't there, if there's evil, when there's concept evil, there probably is going to be evil, and that's approach to be. And wouldn't the evil become innocent? Why would the evil want to be evil? So we have this sort of reverse of the currents, whether it's the proper for one mind, rather of the social norms. Then we notice which ones are the villains. The worker class tends to tip at the restaurant more. Some of them even have debts. And they don't think like a zombicist, which goes calculative about these natural things. They're here, they're living. We're not doing some kind of high standard. This is very bottom line. That's very beauty in a ways is average. Have we found a single unbeauty person that's going to be a national socialist? It in a way sort of isn't beauty as if sort of it's high class. That's average. It's supposed to be culture. Who isn't culture? Every single slander towards the animal kingdom has been proven false. Pigs don't even stink. The most unhygienic entities are these, and then these pick up from its personal tribute halls, or whether the probable distribute places these luxury brand perfumes and cover it up like a casino gluten freak that are number based. Ever goes mirror on the wall, edits its facial features around. Whether the probable edits its form. And probable, and whether another probable, whether probable, whether even to facial features so much. Whether there, and whether even to facial features. Whether proper from whether even to facial features. Or whether proper even to facial features. Whether even to facial features in much of. The zombicists can stomp our guys. These doesn't declare and goes with the softer spell. So you go sleep, you do your stuff and donate through this program, which is guaranteed to tax burden you. It's direct a higher taxation if you work harder. What the fuck is that? Pick up a gun and shoot somebody until this gets fixed. This is about principle and values here. If they're a selfish entity which doesn't care too much, how did even selfish entity raise to this level? There must be Nazis. They're sort of their, in a way, product of Nazism entities. It might take a while before this goes on the UV medium. When we have enough enfeeblements around, I survived the school prison and they couldn't get to me. And if I somehow underperform extra, then there comes all this criticism. The Ajma could have just laughed and start dissing. They're the almighty, powerful, unstoppable, predatorless, way above its natural order performers, mass zombicists cancer. recent there of phrasal whether phrasalism. Kind of was whether reason whether proper from whether reason whether minor rather of was mainly whether reason whether proper from whether mainly to emphasize whether reason whether another whether reason whether maybe of emphasize towards whether reason whether to towards to whether reason whether proper for whether reason whether towards to and whether to whether reason whether another whether reason whether just towards for whether reason whether just whether reason whether it was maybe of emphasize towards to whether reason whether proper from whether minor rather of whether reason whether towards. Still sustaining within sort of the modernity set analysis, because the time slot is of a certain duration. We have to act like dominators. This is a fair battle, even though it is sort of a match, because no one has yet won. I know we will. But during course there wouldn't be whether reason whether of us during whether reason whether, but during course there wouldn't be so much of a similar indicator. All these questions, all these, I had visited some persons, right, and they totally just try to waste your time, and it's utterly brutal levels. What a bunch of freaks. The day one notices a lot of these animals are just living creatures. What kind of living entities are these? They're worse than all the Martians. The Martians wouldn't even do much. This is something completely different. A whole other different level that's sort of not so much of above or under, or whether sort of a low life, is almost non-parallel. All of a sudden, therefore, from the natural entities, I'm there to dismiss the persons who couldn't find that phrase or couldn't generate the reason phrase of where does that pseudo even come from, but such would be there. Why, as if it got into that level from there wasn't any equality policies that guarantee their emperor status position, or while these rarely denounce, these even frown purposely as going to their personal palaces to legally loot. Do they even work? How does it that those combined together could obtain this much resources? What items do they miss at present time? Whether reason whether probable, whether minor at current, whether reason whether probable, whether reason whether probable for whether reason whether at current years, whether reason whether probable whether minor is rather of whether reason whether at current year of. Some unreputables, in the case of unreputables, those wouldn't announce how much they've gained. And judging from the amount of luxury those received, are they some favorites from certain governments? Why would certain governments bother doing that? They are utterly unstoppable. Which side has higher chance of being garnered, or whether further diminished? Whether reason whether rather of whether diminished, whether reason whether just whether reason whether proper from whether and whether rather of further diminished, whether reason whether rather of. They cannot be removed almost. Their survival list, that's guarantee of survival list, now even expanded to this whole area. These are mad doctor factual machines. Engineered itself to this numbers, guys. You'll keep factual children playing innocent and doing casual until this whole planet bleeds to some kind of hideous bomb before planetary explodes. If someone suddenly realizes and launches 50,000 nukes and rockets. So sort of the total is referred to nukes and rockets. It's going to easily shut down this business because they can simply summarize it to a slow clap and do some kind of hideous dramatism until we dig a hot needle into them and cook its cerebral hijack corpse and organ to the second undressed. Recent phrasal weather phrases was probable, was maybe of to whether reason whether to whether reason whether proper from whether minor rather whether reason whether also whether reason there whether proper from whether maybe of emphasize towards how much the enfeeblement are out there and how much the a lot of the words are overused and there's wrong stuff emphasized. In ways it is a recent weather. In ways it is a Nazism planet than it is weather reason weather. It is a Nazi planet also. Weather reason weather also. Weather reason weather another. Weather reason weather. It's a Nazi planet. Weather reason weather. Probably for weather reason weather it's a Nazism planet also. What is when there's battle, yet these ones tell others to do not fight? They might as well tell guys to go to sleep. But that would be too alarming, isn't it? That's the amount of hideous these dredge to us, these number-based, utterly brutalists. Mass amount of deprived fugitives that are choosing to target. These aren't spasm and one day sort of just diminish. These are planning it. Why don't they plan something sensational, such as how to dodge me gassing those inside garages and warehouses and feature film this? Whether reason and whether proper from whether will be feature film this. Whether reason whether proper from whether will be feature film this. Reason from whether there's a probable also. This could just simply laugh and do not engage. Right? It doesn't attain to reason and do not have to pay any social upkeeps. Our groups may at least have a probable, at least have a factor of being overappraisal towards have overconfidence and therefore we engage a bunch of innocents. Nah, that's not the case. That's applicable to a lot. And unless we considered, do the zombies consider? No. And they have nearly all of the planet. Just because the president has the title president doesn't therefore he's a boss. You can't even kick someone's car legally. You can't even kick a criminal's car legally. What the heck is that? The criminal is the boss? This place is where the criminal is the boss. To such an extent, when criminals are boss, they no longer are criminal boss. They just become anything it wants to, which is sort of the maximum profit. Combine all the villains together, none of these will be as hideous as those would sell other humans' children, exploit whenever it wishes, keeps the deprivation, spasm to engineer, yet engineer to this number. The number is atrocious, guys, right? 360. Whether reason whether probable minor rather, and whether first, whether reason whether and whether reason whether probable and whether enforceable, whether reason whether probable and whether reason whether probable from whether first of. Times up by 5, times out by 5, times out by 5. They wouldn't remotely even reach to 10 million yet, and they have far more than this. Like one column, 39 division. This is an overpopulated Nazism regime planet. This monolithic identical agricultural response, and whether proper from whether brooding, whether reason whether proper from brooding. Reason the probable could be a slightly change of subject because it's whether reason whether proper from whether also it's a bit of downplay. What was the a prison sentence named at school and the governments approve it? Notice all the feminazi teachers flock to when the children are young and start conditioning them to be the obedient innocents and ever do some quiz. They're probably just ever acting. They're simply monsters. We should import probably some Nigerians to fight them. If it's like all monster fight, then that's more of a reason probably to engage them even more confrontationally, not sort of this hesitation. They don't really preach hesitation, they preach the hesitation mood, while already enforce our guys to be more covert stated. May not be fond of a reason whether may not be trust endorsed to of whether reason whether another, whether reason whether also whether reason whether may not be just one of reason mentioned there. There can be so much distortion. So how to counter it? You go A is wrong, you go B is wrong, then therefore you can go C. By the time you go C, it's right. They can now give you right or wrong because it's now spelled as exhaust. And I have to explain this like it's some new subject. Clearly, the Nazis will be flooding to major levels. It's not that they have affected this. There's irresponsibility of man. Non-agents are mentally fucked. Reason there, whether earlier mention of can be regarded to as whether is probable can be regarded as a rhetorical expression of. Do we notice now that the Nubians are probably innocent, far more innocent at least? I'm supposed to be battling outside and driving battleships, not this sort of weighty. Bring the AC-130 out and start execute them. And we'll also do fireworks and whether it may also with namely a flare during some of the parades. Disrespect to sports, massive amount of gimmickry. And disrespect to inventors also. It wouldn't disrespect it, it would deprecate with it. That's how those deprecate against whether fight against it. And the police are absolutely doing nothing. All these atrocious thieves at Romania started taunting around. Prepare the gas chambers and the needle wires. Feed them some false information and let them let these keep interpret as if they have a chance. Cancel these portalerists. These are the problems to be downplayed. At occasions where it is possible to sort of maneuver a bit more, then the feminazis' inflictions on that's worse. Those enforce us to speak to be all kinds of, but the reason why they're numerous, different sort of unconditional, whether reduction inflictions received as to tackle, and this is some kind of mental disease, global domination. A reason why the probable of global domination, whether reason why the probable of some mental disease, global domination, of whether reason whether of whether the reason whether just some mental, whether reason whether just probable of some mental disease, global domination, of which whether reason there whether of whether reason there whether reason there whether of which whether reason there whether of probable of comparative, whether reason whether it's probable to another, whether reason whether it's probable comparative to could be considered as whether reason whether it's probable to could be suitable for whether it's probable to could be. Do we notice in the 1990 generation kids, these aren't kids. What's all the study groups doing? How come we have this sheer amount of mediocre? They must have equivalent gone down and did incapacitation, weakness towards our guys. Whether reason whether proper for whether moderate of whether reason whether proper for whether also whether reason whether proper for whether moderate of whether reason there another whether reason whether proper for whether also whether reason whether proper for whether rather of whether reason there of whether is greater to those must have done whether reason there whether incapacitation of and whether similar versions of whether reason whether proper for whether similar variants, whether reason whether proper for just whether reason whether proper for whether variant versions of and reductions, weakening inflictions, whether reason whether spells towards our guys, for that to remotely result into this. Excellence is not there. The force of excellence is not there. You buy a new car, it's much more comfortable than buying certain other items, and they threaten through it, simply just smile like, I care for you. Isn't that what this does? I learned this due to my charisma, able to not really pick those up early, but probably it's not necessarily due to the eventfulness. Probably it might be whether reason whether another, whether reason whether another, whether reason whether another, whether reason whether another, whether reason another, whether reason whether another might be a small factor. Whether reason whether reason there whether proper for one amount or other might be a whether reason whether proper for one amount or other a small factor. it's probably due to some presence, whether you know whether first of some energy that able to direct us to strike at it, to whether reveal it. Such discussing is we're not supposed to even having a discussion in a way, isn't it? It's supposed to be discussion on how to target the non-Detroit defenders. By the way, if there's any hardware problem, then that's going to be gas chambers. Actually, there's always these fuss. The overall contribution, suppose someone builds this technology, took 200 of those lazy before it was graduated, sort of a different entity as now. Shouldn't be called persons. Reason is probably considered as generalization of, as if therefore they're good. But what's their overall contribution? Do they even serve the Hitler? What's the point of losing Hitler? Everything else is done. Then nothing is done. Notice the pseudo is what will not listen. He will pretend to listen to if it was the effective result. The target receive more of I'm the one in charge. Whether they are the ones in charge, whether they are the ones, whether when they are another, whether they are the ones in charge. If we stop, then these goals might no longer probably give as much of item whether some whether matter such a by whether probable such a whether of discourse whether probable matter rather of and whether this correspondence of the probable from whether similar types of probable results could be for a reason there whether freezes of whether two freezes of whether minor triple of the probable also could be of whether probable and whether it could be of whether probable from whether it could be of probable also could be of whether probable from whether first of whether reason there probable of whether reason there and whether first of proper kind of was an improvement remark whether an improvement of result to whether improvement would result to whether improvement result to whether reason there whether actual whether improvement and indicating remark whether probable whether kind of was a indicating remark of whether reason there whether and whether question of probable also to could be of noticing these criticisms to Trump, they are like its employees. The boss is telling you to keep down, and they don't want to make it seem as if they're the ones with the full of strength. There's a bunch of league of liars, monolithic he group. If I bring up about how these cook creatures alive, and I have a nuke button here, New York is getting bombed right now. Who the fuck cares about any of the financial groups there? These two should die. They don't represent any culture, and most of them being asked to be terminated. Actually, I wouldn't nuke that fast. I would collect those opposites together, group up with numerous folks, and press on the chemical weapons. But the opposites, if there's any questioning onto why to bomb those opposites, is that another one of those Nazism from Nazism entities question? Regular folks will be already whether Nazi. Whether probable for whether Nazism question, whether Nazism question, whether Nazism questions. Our guys will be with and they will be enthusiastically want to know more. It wouldn't act like we wouldn't want to correspond to. How will one feel knowing that uncles has been burned in the same oven as their cousins? And it was celebrated too, because it was dinner. By the very something that in its fetus stage will utterly resemble. Living creature shouldn't kill others. It's not something of thinking. It's very basic format. Why should you think this way? Here's a logic answer to it. Whether reason whether it's this monolithic Hebrew. Uniquely, these Nazism keeps trying to achieve such. They're trying to achieve it. They removed a lot of external factors. They don't put slaughterhouse as namely a reason whether proper for one the name whether proper for one the minor rather of namely whether reason whether namely place some of the slaughterhouses right next by. Yes, instead it's this green lawn. It itself is sort of a subject to discuss. Too much complexity, they start to substitute. They don't necessarily try to attack you. They pick up a topic and in the durational phase it's give a reason and attach it with something. They always follow this format. Bunch of, is it really worse? Unbrave? They are hideous. Examples are established this number, whether reason why the popular examples are established this number, yet rarely speaks to its identical cancers. More or less, the condemns can be considered as imposed on blog and not proper from other mediums.